What we're looking at here are going to be the antibody levels within our plasma. We have our initial infection that's going to be happening at point 0. So here we get infected. Notice we don't have any antibodies in our plasma at this point. We're going to take a couple of days because we're going to go through that selection process of the T cell receptors. Once you finally find the T cell receptors that work, then you're going to start going through that proliferation for days 3 through 7. So once you go through and actually have helper T cells, then you can take the sensitized B cells and start making antibodies from the plasma cells. So that's going to take some time. But you can see here IgM has started to be made. So we're making IgM, and then as IgM is going to peak and then go downward, you can see it's declining after IgG is really taking over. So IgG is really the one that's going to finish up the cleanup that we have here with the antibody levels. This is referred to as a titer when you're taking the antibody level within your plasma. So you're counting up how many antibodies are going to be in there. Notice we have a decline that's going to be happening for IgG and IgM. At this point, our regulatory cells are going to be coming in because our infection is almost done. So we have cleared out the infection with our innate immune system, innate immunity, and so now we don't need as many antibodies. This is our primary response. We've never encountered this antigen before, and so we're creating the IgM, then the IgG, but we're retaining the memory here. Well, let's say you get exposed to this exact same antigen again. We're not going to have a primary response, we're going to have a secondary response. And that secondary response is drastic. Because we have our memory cells already hanging out within our lymph nodes, we are just waiting for this antigen to take place. And look, IgG just goes through exponential growth right at the first indication that you have this antigen. So IgG skyrockets, and cute little IgM tries to do a thing as well. IgM is still good because if IgG is not effective, IgM can oftentimes go in and start cleaning that up. So because you have such a large secondary response, oftentimes when you've got exposed to this particular antigen, you don't even have symptoms. You don't know you were infected by this antigen because your antibody secondary response is so high that you're really not going to have time to have symptoms. Now, when we're looking at this secondary response is the reason we get vaccinations, because vaccinations stimulate your primary response. Your body finds that antigen in the vaccination, and it goes through the whole process of making antibodies, of making cytotoxic T cells. Now, the difference with the vaccination is a vaccination cannot give you that particular disease. A vaccination can make you feel like crap, because your body is doing the same response that you would have as if you were infected, but you don't actually have that bacteria in you that's eating away at your cells and producing toxins. You don't actually have that virus which is taking over your cells and infecting all the cells around it. You are just creating the antibodies that will fight against it. You're creating the cytotoxic T cells that would fight against it, and then you're creating the memory, and that memory is really what we're looking for. So the memory you're creating with vaccinations allows you to jump right to this secondary response. Now, sometimes you'll get viruses that are going to be mutating all the time. So you're not going to necessarily have the exact vaccination for that one thing. But if they're closely related enough, you're still going to have enough to have some sort of secondary response to it. So it's still going to generally minimize the symptoms that you'll have from that. And again, vaccines do not give you that virus. If you got the flu after getting a flu shot, you either got a strain of flu that was different than what the vaccination was made for, or you were already infected at that point and you got the vaccination too late. But a flu vaccination cannot give you the flu. It can make you feel like crap because, again, all your energy and resources are going to doing this, but they're not actually giving you the flu. I'm not going to make you know the names and the times of all of these different things. I want you to look at is the overall response that's happening for a bacterial infection and the cells that are going to be active. So notice we have our time 0 when you're first getting infected by that bacteria. Our neutrophils are super high. Remember, neutrophils are going to be part of our innate system. So our innate system with the neutrophils, those are going to be very active in trying to find those pathogens and eat them. Your macrophage is the same thing, part of your innate. Your natural killer cells, part of your innate. So with your innate system, they're going there and they're actively finding the pathogen, getting the antigens, and then they're going to be presenting to our T cells. So once our T cells have become activated, we're going to create a ton of cytotoxic T cells. The cytotoxic T cells are going to be going and finding infected body cells, and they're going to be destroying those body cells through that 3-step process. During that same time, our helper T cells are going to be helping our cytotoxic T cells, as well as activating our B cells to make plasma cells. And as our plasma cells start increasing, so does our antibody level as well. So now our antibodies are going to be increasing, and all of these are working together to try to destroy that pathogen. This is just a nice table that kind of goes through and gives you all the different types of cells and what they're actually doing for it. I'm not going to go through it with you, but it's a good review to have on there. And here's a summary of your immune response in general. So first, we're going to start with our innate. We have been infected by some sort of antigen, which is triggering our innate response. Remember, innate response is immediate. You always have it working. Your complement system's working, your different phagocytic cells, your NK cells, all of which are going to be used to try to destroy the pathogen. So these guys are all actively destroying those antigens on the pathogens. We're going to need these, though, to go through antigen presentation. So when we present the antigen on our APCs, that's going to trigger our adaptive immunity. So with our adaptive immunity, first we have our cell-mediated immunity. That's going to be our T cells that become activated. So once our T cells become activated, our cytotoxic T cells are then going to actively destroy pathogens. Cytotoxic T cells, or those CD8 cells, are going to make those cytotoxic ones. They're making memory and regulatory as well. Then we're looking at antibody-mediated. Now with our antibody-mediated, we have to have our helper T cells. Those helper T cells are then going to activate our B cells. It's mostly B cell driven though. So we're going to be creating memory B cells, and we're creating plasma cells. Plasma cells, again, are secreting the antibodies. Antibodies aren't actually physically destroying the antigens, but they're going to allow our innate to go through and destroy those antigens. So they're all going to be working together with your innate plus your cell-mediated, antibody-mediated to destroy that pathogen with those antigens on there, so you're going to free yourself from the infection. This is just giving you an overview of which type is more effective against which. So when we talk about bacteria and viruses, they inherently work differently. Bacteria are extracellular. They don't go into your body cells, they're big. Bacteria eat your body cells. So they're going to be found in your interstitial fluid, maybe in your lymph. Now, because the bacteria are going to be extracellular, this in particular is where your antibodies are going to come into play. Antibodies don't go into your body cells. They're staying out in your interstitial fluid or your extracellular fluid or in your plasma. And so they're going to attach to the bacteria, and then they're going to rely mostly on your phagocytic cells that are going to destroy that bacteria. Viruses, because they're inside your cell, means the only way to kill them is to kill your infected body cells. So viruses, remember, are going to inject their genetic material. Your body cell is going to find DNA or RNA and it's going to be like, oh, let me make more of these. And so your body cells are making more viruses that can then spread. Generally what happens is that body cell starts making so many viruses, and then that body cell lyses, releasing all those viruses. So the only way to kill off the virus production is by destroying your body cells. So destroying your body cells is really going to be the cytotoxic T cells and the NK cells that are doing the majority of it. Antibodies are going to find any viruses that got released from the cells, or they're going to prevent them from entering into the cells. So that's also going to help. But generally speaking, your T cells for your cell-mediated are most effective against viruses because they kill your healthy bodies, or they kill your infected body cells. Extracellular pathogens like bacteria are going to be where you can use antibodies because the antibodies are extracellular and they will attach to the bacteria. Now, if you go to the doctor and you get antibiotics, antibiotics are going to be artificial antibodies. Antibiotics only work against bacterial infections because, again, antibiotics, just like antibodies, never physically enter your cell. So if you have a viral infection, do not take antibiotics. You do not need antibiotics for a viral infection. You need rest, you need water, and you need your adaptive immunity to create more cytotoxic T cells and NK cells to destroy those virus-infected cells. Now, viral infections can lead to bacterial infections because it makes you more susceptible, and that's only if, though, your body doesn't on its own clean up the virus-infected cells. So this is still your body that's going to be doing the work even if you take antibiotics. Antibiotics just act as artificial antibodies. So the antibodies will help you to target the bacteria so your innate immunity can go in and destroy it easier. And then here's our integration of our lymphatic system with all the other systems that we have already covered. So make sure you can actually make those connections between all the different body systems, which should not be hard in the case of the lymphatic system, because the lymphatic system, of course, is what's really containing your immunity with all those lymph nodes and those white blood cells. So you need to be able to link those all in to all the different body systems. And that's the end of the lymphatic system.